It is 23 hours 30, Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. President Bush says he wants world leaders to unite to diplomatically settle the dispute with North Korea about its missile tests. The president said he spoke with the leaders of China, Japan, Russia, and South Korea. He said one way to get North Korea to obey international rules is through the United Nations Security Council. Council members are debating a proposed resolution on North Korea. The American ambassador to the United Nations says there is strong support in the Council to approve a statement condemning the missile tests. North Korea says the tests were successful and that it plans to test more missiles. A former United States soldier says he is not guilty of sexually attacking an Iraqi woman. He also pleaded not guilty to killing her and 3 members of her family. Former Army Private Stephen Green answered charges in a federal court in Kentucky on Thursday. Officials are investigating other American soldiers in the case. Top United States officials in Iraq have denounced the suspected crimes. Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad and General George W. Casey say they will punish the American soldiers if they are found guilty. Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has called for an independent investigation. Also Thursday, a bomb attack near a Shiite Muslim holy place in Kufa killed at least 12 people. The victims include 8 Iranian visitors. Israeli aircraft have attacked the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Palestinian troops answered with gunfire and rockets. Late Thursday, a third Israeli strike killed at least 3 Palestinians near the town of Beit Lahia. Reports say at least 16 Palestinians were killed earlier in northern Gaza. Israel confirmed that one of its soldiers also died. Israel says it is trying to prevent Palestinian rocket attacks. The Palestinian Interior Minister urged security forces to fight what he called an Israeli invasion. The United Nations Human Rights Council has condemned the Israeli military operations in Gaza. The Council is also demanding that Israel halt its offensive. Council members met Thursday in Switzerland. They approved a resolution proposed by the Organization of the Islamic Conference. The resolution urges Israel and the Palestinians to obey the rules of international humanitarian law and stop violence against civilians. The UN Human Rights Council also agreed to send a team to the Palestinian territories to investigate human rights concerns. Israel's ambassador denounced the resolution. The top nuclear negotiator for Iran says his country remains serious about ending international concerns about the Iranian nuclear program. Ali Larijani spoke in Brussels after meeting with the European Union's foreign policy chief, Javier Solana. Mr. Larijani did give an official answer to a proposal by 6 nations last week. He said he will meet again with Mr. Solana next Tuesday. In Ankara, Turkey, the head of the United Nations Nuclear Agency urged Iran to answer the proposal as soon as possible. Iran says it will not provide an answer until August. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. Mexico's ruling party candidate, Felipe Calderón, has won the presidential election. Official election results say he leads candidate Andrés Manuel López Obrador by much less than 1%. Mr. Calderón says he might offer a cabinet position to Mr. López Obrador. Mr. López Obrador has refused to accept defeat. He says he will officially object to the results. He urged his supporters to come to the center of Mexico City on Saturday for a demonstration. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper says the United States' efforts to increase border security could harm relations between the two countries. Mr. Harper spoke in Washington after talks with President Bush at the White House. The Canadian leader called on the United States Congress to reconsider recent laws on border security. The United Nations says it has returned more than 10,000 refugees to southern Sudan since late last year. The UN Refugee Agency says more than 260 refugees willingly returned this week from northern Uganda. An international research group says almost half of all the families in Zimbabwe survive with the help of a family working in foreign countries. The British-based Global Poverty Research Group presented a report on Zimbabwe. Researchers questioned 300 families living in the capital, Harare, and the second-largest city, Bulawayo. The group says most of the support from outside the country is in the form of goods such as food and clothing. Afghan President Hamid Karzai says the international community should rethink its war against terrorism. He said the war is failing to deal with the main causes of terrorism. Mr. Karzai spoke to a reporter for Britain's Financial Times newspaper. He said those responsible for terrorism are not in Afghanistan. He said the top concern should be countries where terrorists are trained, given financial support, and equipment. The American space vehicle, Discovery, successfully connected with the International Space Station Thursday. The crews of Discovery and the space station have opened the door between them. Earlier, the space station crew took detailed pictures of the shuttle as it arrived. They were looking for any damage from Discovery's launch on Tuesday. Pictures taken immediately after the launch showed 5 small objects falling off a fuel container. American Space Agency officials say they have discovered nothing of major concern. And now, briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. President Bush says he wants world leaders to settle the crisis of the North Korean missile tests by diplomacy. A former United States soldier says he is not guilty of sexually attacking and killing an Iraqi woman. Top American officials in Iraq have denounced the attack and murder of the woman and 3 members of her family. And Israeli aircraft have attacked the northern part of the Gaza Strip. And that's the news in VOA Special English. This is Jim Tedder reporting.